It's a live actual.
Yes.
What is up? We are live, right?
We are
I think
live.
so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Welcome to the Boy of My Youth commentary session.
Yes.
We have been playing so much music the last 40 plus days. We figured we should just sit down and just talk with you guys. We have the comment section here. So if you've been up to date with what's going on, we did a Boy of My Youth album flow show this last Monday. And that was super, super fun. So basically, from top to bottom, we played how the album is. So once we were preparing for that, we were like, we should just sit around and talk about it. And is it working?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We should just sit around and just talk about the album. And we're like, let's get you guys involved. Our friends, our fans, our friends, get you guys involved. Apparently, this is the talking ball. So whoever holds this has all the power.
Hi, Emily. We're so glad that you've logged on with us.
It's awesome. British fine.
Yes, she's from England. It's awesome.
What
There-
time is it there?
Yeah. What time is it in England? Also, if you'll notice, there are only 4 of us. Aaron is missing. You have to tell him why.
But he is in the comments, if you notice.
Yes.
So,
Very active.
correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron has laryngitis.
Yes, that is our conclusion.
So he cannot talk. So
So
he's on the mend, so we told him, you're not allowed to talk. And he's like,
last Monday, he sang his heart out for y'all, and the next morning woke up, literally could not speak, and so yeah, it was a little scary, but he's slowly mending.
so between, if I'm not mistaken, campfires over the weekend and singing Be Here falsetto over and over and over and over. Maybe not. Maybe something else. I don't know. But fortunately, he cannot be here. But he lives with us through comments. So, Aaron, you are with us in spirit and comment. So we appreciate all that you do in this band. We wish you were here. But basically, what was I saying? Oh, I was saying last week we did the flow and we asked you guys to do questions about the album. So we have a list from last week, but do not be deterred. I always say this word wrong. Deterred.
Detour?
Is that how you say it?
Yes, you can.
Okay, it just sounds weird in my mouth.
Yeah, turn
To
my dryer off.
add comments and questions about the album. Okay, so tonight, obviously, is very chill and very relaxed. We always try to do
That's
things.
for laundry.
The dryer is off now.
We've been trying to be as professional as possible online, and this is opposite day.
Yes.
So, shall we?
Dive in.
Yes, let's dive.
Okay, I'm going to randomly select a few of the questions y'all did last week. And we're going to start off with
Oh, sorry. Here you go.
we're going to start off with a delightful one for John.
All right, John.
Tell them a good but condensed story of the Montana hike. Ooh.
Okay. Condensed is gonna be intense. Well, Montana. I was there, so with these guys. We were making an album that some people helped pay for, and we were very grateful. And I'm already off track. So, they were recording, and I went on this hike, and I traveled second hike. So the first hike I hiked maybe 4 miles, came back.
Is that
and
the
I-
one that me and you and Nico went on?
No, because we did that one, and then several days later I came back and it was snowing and it was beautiful.
Right.
And then I came back, recorded a little bit of bass on a song that I don't remember, and then I went out, I looked, and I saw this massive mountain. I'm going to try to condense it. Saw this massive mountain, and I was like, I'll start hiking towards it, because there's this large hill, and then there's the actual mountain, and I only did the hill. So I was like, I'll just start going towards it. I don't need to bring anything essential like food or water. I'll be fine.
Fire starter.
I'll turn back. I don't
Something
don't
warm.
need the bear spray. I'm fine. So I started on my way, and I got to the bottom of the mountain, and I was like, I've never been this way. I'll just keep going. So I just kept going and going and going and going and going and going and going. And it was becoming much later in the day. And it started to get more like this, and to the point where I had to grab trees to heave myself up, and the snow was so thick that one time my leg broke through and it went down to almost my hip. It was that deep, so it was a little intense. And I had this cardigan underneath my coat that gotten wet and then frozen because there was so much snow. There was no snow where the cabin was. I was that high. And I was going, and it started to look like it was almost starting to sunset, and I pull out my phone, and it's on 1%. I'm like, I cannot contact my siblings, so if this dies and something happens, goodbye, I love you. What's up?
The volume is quiet. I'm going to give us a little extra here.
So
Check.
So I decided I didn't reach the top, which we came back later and realized
You can't reach the top.
you can't reach the top. It was literally just snow, so high that it was starting to. It was too steep. So I'm glad I didn't go that far. So I started going down the hill. Kyle called me. He's like, "Where are you, Rachel?" And so,
From our point of view, we are, 2 miles away from where he's at, and it's getting dark fast. And how old were you? 17?
yes.
John was 17. Here I was 20, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
27. I was 27?
Yeah.
Anyway, older brother, like, where the heck is John? So we're all trying to call him, and he finally answers, and he said, I'm
On top of the mountain. I'm on my way down. Oh, by the way, my cardigan's frozen. Great.
It's a great sentence.
Did you bring, I'm talking into this
It's not a
dryer ball like it's a
microphone.
microphone. Did you bring water? Did you bring food? Did you bring fire starter? Did you bring something warm in case you break your leg and you're stuck on the mountain?
Nope. But I did see bear tracks in snow. Also, I'm so hungry that I'm eating the snow, and now it's cooling my body so far down that it's not good. I'm on my way home. See you soon, maybe. So I'm on my way down. I start sliding down the snow, and it's so cold. My butt is wet, and the ice is so cold. It feels like I'm sliding down Knife Mountain. That was probably the worst part. I finally get to the bottom of the mountain. Who knows how long that took? At one point, I think I was sliding on both feet, but I'm not sure. Might have been delusional.
I think that's called skiing.
Skiing, thank you. And so it's starting to actually get dark, and I'm 2 miles away. I'm down the mountain. I still have 2 miles to get home, and it's getting dark. So I start running, and I'm running, and I'm getting semi-close, and my stomach is so empty that it just starts to hurt and to even run. So I kind of slow down to a walk, a jog, and I get semi-close to the cabin, and I hear a whole bunch of oohs. And
And it
so,
wasn't us recording
it wasn't
Lonesome
Lonesome
and it
Wolf.
wasn't them recording Lonesome Wolf. And so I automatically thought, wolves! Which I'm pretty sure it could have been coyotes. But at the moment, you don't know. So I go back into a sprint. And so it was kind of like the cabin, a hill, 2 miles, and then that big hill of mountains. So I'm getting close. I'm almost to this hill. And I get there, and I sprint down, and I see Kyle, and he has a big thing of water, and tells me that there's steak inside the cabin, and he kept telling me, "Don't ever do that again. I'm so jealous you did it, but don't ever do that again." And
You were
so,
jealous. You were
it
like
was a-
mad,
You
but
were
also
so
wish you'd been
jealous,
there.
mad.
I was mad because you were off being stupid and I wasn't along for the adventure. So, anyway. But I was glad you were okay. And stuff.
And then I took a bath to warm up my frozen body that I couldn't remember the last time I taken a bath. I did shower, but not bathe.
Bye.
Was this before or after we jumped in the snowy pond?
After, maybe.
I can't remember.
Side note: when you're young and reckless, there was snow on the ground, and we're making an album which includes singing, and we're like, hey, let's go jump in the pond. It'd be awesome. And we jump in the pond, and we're like, wait a minute, we're gonna be singing. We probably shouldn't be in freezing cold water.
Swimming in snowy water.
Yeah, so
It's fun though.
it was fun.
But
I'm gonna be done.
the climate change was so drastic. I'm not talking about the mountain story has its tail.
Ran its course.
We've reached the end of its tail.
All right. There you go, Zach.
There you go. But I will say that the weather throughout, I got a sunburn and we played in the snow and built a snowman. So the weather was crazy. That's a fun fact for me. I'll probably have several more.
Probably. So, really quick recap for those of you who have joined us since we made this album. We had a dream to make an album in Montana in a ranch house and break all the rules of recording in a studio and set up and just get away from everything and make music. So we did a Kickstarter, and because of you guys, because of our incredible fans, we actually got to do it, and it was absolutely amazing. So that's what we're kind of talking about tonight, is just the story of Boy My Youth. And part of that, and a lot of the fun stories, were in Montana. So we're actually from Missouri, so it was quite the trek out there. But we spent 2 weeks in this ranch house, and yeah, it was super fun.
To address a question from last week, the poster that was hanging up behind us that said Dawson Hollow is going to Montana. We are from Missouri. We live in Missouri. But we recorded this album in Montana, and a great artist friend of ours made that banner when our Kickstarter was successful. And so that's why it said Montana. So we are going back someday.
At some point.
At some point.
Also, Emily said when John said he heard wolves, it was the actual lonesome wolf.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And Kira says she's glad that John's still alive.
Also, yes.
Us too.
Thank you.
We're
All right.
glad.
Next story.
Oh, Zach, where's Aaron? You just tuned in.
Oh, yes.
Aaron has laryngitis,
He can't
and
talk.
he can't talk.
No.
So we knew if he sat here and tried to not talk,
Oh, look.
it'd be too
Aaron-
hard.
Aaron's in the
Aaron
But
comments.
he is here. He
Here
says
in
here.
spirit.
He's here
Well,
in the comments.
In comments.
In comments. All right. How many tracks were on BOMY?
Like,
Tracks.
How many tracks?
tracks are on it, or we're in the thought.
Okay, so how many songs were in consideration for the album, and how many ended up on the album?
Didn't we have like 50?
I think so.
I think it was like 50
Yeah. Songs to choose from.
that we
Yeah.
whittled down to like 15, and then eventually, what, 13?
Yes.
13 tracks?
Yes.
So most albums are 40-ish, 37 to 48-ish minutes, roughly. And Boy My Youth is 57, I think. So most albums fit on a vinyl, two sides. Or most records fit on a two-sided vinyl. But because our songs are so long, and they're 13, we had to put it on two separate vinyls, just to fit,
Yes.
which was gnarly.
Next question. I'm question filtered girl person.
That's her official title.
What bands do you take inspiration from, in particular for BOMY? And I know we all have different answers.
You go first. When we go
Definitely the Avett Brothers, the Beatles, and the Beach Boys.
What's your favorite Beatles song?
We all live in Yellow Submarine. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, what other bands do we take inspiration from? Oh, Lord Huron.
For Boy My Youth, Dan Kroll.
Mm.
And we made Boy My Youth. It was the first time that we said we're going to record a record of all original. We're going to do only music that comes from us. So we wanted to do something bigger than we've ever done. So thus we did the Kickstarter, and when we completed that, it's like we want to do the absolute best record we possibly can. So we poured everything into it. So we wanted to be ambitious. So we looked to records like Sgt. Pepper, and Pet Sounds by Beach Boys and Beatles, because they were like monumental, experimental, just like, let's try new things. So we kind of used those as catalysts. So I'd say Beach Boys and yeah, Beatles were a big inspiration for Boy My Youth. We listen to a lot of Avery Brothers. We listen to a lot of Lord Huron, especially when you're in Montana.
We had that massive playlist.
Oh yeah.
We did.
Remember, we went through this giant process with our producer Ryan, where like for weeks and weeks and weeks leading up to us going out there, we would put like 10 songs that we thought might be inspirational on a playlist, and then at the end of the week we have to like take several songs off, and it just had to do that every week, and we ended up with this. How many songs were on that list?
A ton, like hundreds.
Yeah. So all these songs, we were kind of listening to all this stuff that we thought might have some influence on the album, and it was pretty a lot of listening done. Of course, Montana's a long ways away.
That's true.
Aaron's favorite Beatles song is "Hey Jude."
Oh, that's a
Oh.
good one.
Yes.
That is a good one.
John, you don't have to evolve. What's your favorite Beatles song?
Here Comes the Sun?
Oh.
Question mark / Blackbird.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say Blackbird.
You can say Blackbird.
I like Blackbird. I like Hey Jude. I like Seven of them. Some of them I'm not a big fan of them, but some of them are awesome.
All right.
I didn't say my favorite Beatles
Favorite Beatles song. Yes, sorry.
song.
I get excited.
I love. I don't know. Getting Better on Sgt. Pepper is really good, and I can't even think of what it's called. But it's my favorite one. Not Strawberry Fields, but the other one. The Penny Lane. Penny Lane is probably my favorite Beatles song.
Here's a nice question for you. What inspired the songs Euphoria and Hills and Roads?
Ooh.
Ooh.
All right, Aaron, you helped write Hills and Roads, so
Answer the question.
you put yours in there. You
Euphoria.
co-wrote it.
What?
You co-wrote Hills.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Hills was a fun process because Aaron and I would write a verse and we'd go back and forth. We'd go back and forth until we finally found. And some of them were fun because we would write a verse, but it would actually apply to the other person more specifically than who wrote it. So we literally like would trade verses until it felt like this coherent like back and forth. So that was a lot of fun. Euphoria, I had the little melody for it, and like my whole intention was, well, okay, so I had the melody, but it was funny, I had a guitar pedal that's literally called Euphoria, which I think it used to be called Ecstasy, which is a little more drug referencey than Euphoria, which is still sort of, but I was like, okay, whatever, it does the job of what I'm trying to convey, of just like the best feeling, just like, I don't know, when you're with your friends and when you're just like the great moments of life. I literally wanted to create a soundtrack that felt like that. So that was the inspiration for Euphoria. It went through multiple writing processes. We actually got to the studio, and the band had been used to one version, and the producer and I did a big rewrite on it and changed some chords. So that was part of the BOMY process too. It's like showing up, and half the band's like, the song's like this, and the other half's like, wait, no, it's like this, and then we kind of had to like find some middle ground. But yeah, did Aaron answer on Hills and Roads?
Not yet.
Still working on it.
But Russ Wood, I'm glad you're with us. We have several of your questions from last week we're about to get to. And yes, he is a good social distancer / right now not talking is the hardest thing.
Yes.
We saw him this morning, and he was doing like sign language. It was pretty funny.
Yes. Okay, Russ is here and he had several questions from last week, so we're going to pull a few.
What's up, Russ?
How-
Also, I love your picture. It makes me smile. Just saying. Oh, yeah.
How do we find Ben's Spotify playlist to loop at night? We're going to post it in the comments for you, so you can have it.
Yes.
What, besides music, is something that you all enjoy doing together?
What?
Besides music, what do we enjoy doing together? I'm just hanging out.
Together? Food.
Games.
Food and games.
Volleyball,
We like
spike
sports.
ball,
Oh, spike ball is fun.
hiking,
The beach.
Catan,
Um,
beach.
float trips.
Mm-hmm. We like outdoor stuff.
If you don't know what a float trip is, it's a canoe trip where you get in a canoe and you go down the river
And you float.
and you float. You know, the Ozarks, we call it a float trip.
Yes.
Doing most things together.
It's true, we do most things here. When we're on the road and we've been in the van way too long,
Chinese buffet.
we do. Okay, I literally had
This
Chinese today.
It's
I
one
do
of the
love
other
Chinese,
questions.
but
That is
we
one of
have
the
this thing
questions.
where we'll be on the road for 2 weeks and we will eat Chinese like
3-4 times.
8 times,
A week.
like borderline abusive Chinese amounts of food.
All right.
But it's so good, so I can't.
This leads into Russ's other question: who's the pickiest eater, and what can we all agree on? Chinese, obviously, we agree on.
Pickiest
I think
You're
it would
picky?
be
eater?
John. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You don't even like bananas.
I despise bananas. I gag at the smell sometimes.
Bananas.
John hates bananas because of a story I told him when he was a small boy.
This is
It's
true. He
partial.
fooled all of us.
Partially.
I convinced him that bananas were made out of spiders. And anyway, I won't go into the story.
Which I do not believe anymore.
But he still can't eat bananas. That's probably why he gets
It's
cramps.
just there's a real thing called banana phobia.
Oh, banana phobia is a real thing.
Bananophobia.
Wow.
All right.
But okay, to show you the age gap, Kyle convinced all 3 of us boys that bananas were actually like dried spiders.
Moldy.
Like they would climb into the tree and like shrivel up and dry, and then people would eat them. And we're like, he's like, that's why there's little black lines on it and stuff. We're like, it was like a solid 2 days.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
what I was going to say.
I was finally we're like, oh, it's all hers. End of story.
A more serious story.
Okay.
What would you say is the true cause of your music? So in our video last week from Leah, she said she appreciated our heart and our work ethic and our music, but also our drive behind it, the cause of our music.
Can we do it or me?
Go for it.
Sometimes we do shows, we'll talk about our parents. So we have incredible parents. Our mom was a music teacher. She still teaches music, and our dad loved music. So our mom taught us how to play, like when we were really little, and then so she taught us how to play, and our dad taught us why to play. So pretty early on, we realized, and just from mom and dad just pouring into us, that music can shift an atmosphere, and it can be positive or it can be negative. So I'd say the cause behind our music is to bring hope to people and to bring light to people. So it's like somebody asked the other day, like, what's your favorite part about like interacting with your fans or something like that, something along those lines. And as I answered, I realized it's when you guys tell us stories about like the great times when you're like, there was a summer and I listened to your album or whatever, like, and then it was so fun. Or like the really rough patches or like seasons of uncertainty where you're like, we just clung to your music and it gave us hope and it helped us. So we feel like laughter is a medicine, right? So we hope that our music brings laughter and it's healing to people. So I'd say our cause is just to be a force of positive, I guess. Positivity? What is that word?
Positivity.
That one, yeah.
Positivity. Just
Actually,
gonna backtrack for a second. Or is that
So
what
in the
you're doing?
comments, so like what I was just talking about. So Emily, there we go. You talked about having BOMY on repeat, and like you say we were inspiration for one of your composition pieces. Like that's part of the cause. Like this comment fills us up. So like thank you for sharing that. Like that is so awesome. That, like it's part of the cause.
I'm gonna talk to Meerkat for a minute. Not sure if that's your real name.
Your cat tamer.
Why are you
Doubt
laughing at me? Am I saying it
Yeah.
wrong?
No.
Okay. Okay. He says, he or she, am I? Meerkat Tamer. Can you reveal what your real name is so I don't have to talk to you, please? Okay. Thanks. It's funny you mentioned the inspiration behind Euphoria. I've used every time I'm doing something that makes me really happy, such as traveling. So that coincides with that. And then he asked if we're going to see some female vocals in any of the future songs. Hint, hint. Well, I'm going to hint at a... We're working on that, so I can't hint at anything.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise and a secret. Yes. Oh, I said it right.
Yes!
Woo! Okay,
What,
Meerkat.
which one?
Okay. And then, did we miss one other? Oh, Aaron was talking about his inspiration for Hills and Roots. And, for you guys, he says his inspiration was his girlfriend, which is Faith. She's awesome. How he felt about her, how I was sad to leave her on the road. Emotions.
Hi, David.
Being with my band members and siblings, and understanding this is what I was made to do, basically. I love it.
So I'm going to add to that. I'm pretty sure one of the questions was,
Yes.
what is your Enneagram?
Yes.
So if you can't tell, Aaron is a 4. His answer was, what was the inspiration for your song? Emotions. Basically emotions. Well, the reason I can make fun of him is I am also a 4. And John is also a 4. Or I just already gave away. I guess we could have guessed.
I will.
I guess y'all can guess what Rachel and Kyle are. If you are into Enneagram.
Yes.
Or should we just tell them?
We should just tell them.
Okay.
I'm a 3. 3 through and through. Anything I read about a 3, I feel like they're just peering into my soul. I'm a 3-wing 2, so I like to overachieve and do it all for everyone else.
It's true. We have to learn balance.
Yes.
What am I again?
Kyle's a 6.
We're pretty sure Kyle's a 6, but it's...
He took the test.
I took the
that's
test.
true. You did take
I'm
the
a
test.
6.
He is
You're
a
not
6.
as into the...
I don't know what that
Enneagram.
means, but there you
That's
go.
all right. I feel like we know just enough to be dangerous. You know what I mean? Like, we know just enough that you make an assumption and may or may not be right. I don't know. But it is fun.
Sarah Rosbach. You guys were my top listened to artists on Spotify last year, and I only discovered you last May. Thank you, Sarah.
Oh.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Well, we will try to be your top list with this next album.
Yes. Yeah. Somebody back there asked if we are working on a new album.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
We're working very hard on the new album and releasing something sooner
At
than
some
later before the whole album. So we'll keep teasing you until it's all ready. We have...
Aaron says, Ben, your face is a 4. It's true.
We have had people ask for the backstory of Traveling Man and Pretty Girl. / why did you record it on a lake?
Why did you record? Why wouldn't you? That's the answer. No. So our producer is a very creative mind and has, like Aaron, 1,000 ideas, and a lot of them are really good. And some of them you're not sure of, and then sometimes you do them and you're like, that was awesome. So one of the ideas was, what if we recorded a song in a canoe and try to just capture the sound of nature and the paddle and all that. So at the time, my wife and I, we were dating. We weren't engaged yet. So I'm in a canoe with recording gear, our producer, an electric guitar. Why didn't we do an acoustic guitar? I don't know. But we went with it. We did an electric guitar on water.
You had this battery pack to power the guitar and the guitar amp.
Yeah, so I have all this gear, and then I have my phone, and I'm FaceTiming my to-be wife, and I'm in Montana, and there's birds chirping, and the sun is like soft in the distance, and you can hear the paddle, and it was just like, it was awesome. I don't remember how many takes we did.
It wasn't that many.
It wasn't a ton.
No.
We have some footage of it, and we're going to try to release a
Tried
little
to
music video.
play the video of it last week, but there was a connection off. So
Yeah.
we are developing, because a lot of us stood around the lake and filmed, and they filmed in the canoe, and so we want to put that video together.
Yeah. So I sang the song to my wife, well, girlfriend, but then to be wife, and so yeah, all the sounds you hear. So like, there's a point where like the guitar pauses and there's a little space and there's a bird chirp. Like that's not pulled over and exported in from like sound library or something. That was actual bird.
Organic.
Thank you, Rachel. You summarize all of my
It was
things.
organic.
So, Traveling Man?
Yes. The inspiration behind the song "Traveling Man" was something my grandpa said to me. We had stopped by his house. He is awesome. He's in his 80s. I wish I had traveled a little more in my life. Because he was always tied to his farm, which was his passion, but he wished he had done a little more traveling, and so that just got my brain thinking. And originally when Kyle and I wrote the song with a friend of ours from Nashville, Carmen Brandy, I wrote it from my grandpa's perspective, and I sang, "I wish I was a traveling man," and people took it a little weird. So
we changed it.
We changed it to my grandma's perspective. "I wish you were a traveling man," because my grandma loved to travel. And so we took their story and we took some liberties with it, but it is a roundabout story of our grandparents. And Leah Lawrence helped me change the perspective on that a little bit and capture some more imagery in the song. So yeah, it was terrifying because it wasn't changed until we were in the studio and we were trying to change the lyrics, and I don't write well under pressure. But we got it figured out.
You did. So you're talking about traveling. I just saw the question: are there any specific countries that we would like to travel to?
Any. We would probably want to go to any. If we had the chance, we'd probably go to any country. But to choose from, visually, New Zealand would probably be at my top.
That would be awesome.
Basically,
Hit up the
Europe.
Shire.
Hit up the Shire. Yeah, give Gandalf and Knuckle Beak. And then
We could pull
Europe,
our own version of Hunt for the Wilder People.
Australia, Europe. But yeah, if we were given the chance, I think we'd jump in. But those would be my
Do you have any
tops.
specific style?
Ireland, Scotland, England.
That's where our family's
That's
from.
where we're a lot of our ancestors from. So I think that
John already said it. I love you, Australia. My banjos were actually made in Australia, or the guy he spends part time in Australia and then part time in the States. So I'd love to go and visit the shop there and just the country. It's awesome. Honestly, I know it's fake, but just like Europe in general, we'd love to go. And Iceland. I'm gonna visit Iceland at some point. There's a lot of good music coming out of Iceland.
I would love to visit our neighbor, Canada. I like you guys up there. And England, obviously, Emily, we would love to come play for you. That would be amazing. I would love to go to Asia. The culture is so interesting and fascinating to me. Also, we love the food, so that's a plus too.
That is true. That is true. Japan specifically. I might go.
As a folk band, what other bands in the genre do you like to listen to? Any love for Monsters and Men,
Oh yeah.
even though they're not so folky these days?
Well, it's kind of what we find ourselves in a little bit. It seems like generally a band has to grow, or they just kind of wither. So you have to evolve and you have to grow. So the next record, we're definitely trying some stuff. It's different and it's very exciting.
Yes.
Okay, so bands in the same genre. We love Colony House. We love Dayglow. We love Coin. They're more on the indie side. We love the Oh Hellos. They're
Yes.
super folky. the Lone Bellows.
Yes.
They're really good. They do that Green Eyes,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That was on the playlist.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
it was.
Davidson Mumford, Aaron says.
Yeah,
Fleet
Yeah.
Foxes.
yeah, Fleet Foxes are great.
Nickel Creek.
Yeah, we grew up on Nickel Creek.
Yes.
Let's talk about Nickel Creek.
I like Nickel Creek. I got to see them.
Yeah, Nickel Creek, Punch Brothers, fantastic. Trying to like a bunch of stuff. Who would you consider in our genre?
Our genre. I mean, it took us so
Genre.
long to find our own genre.
Genre.
Avery Brothers were one of the first ones that came to mind. They were probably one of the first inspirations, at least for me, for this. Oh, Colony House. Kind of a mix between Avery Brothers and Colony House.
Keep your voice up there, bud. You're the quiet one. They can't hear you over there.
It's a long way between here and there.
Sorry. Oof. Oh, I don't know. It's hard to.
Aaron
think.
says Daft Punk.
Oh,
Oh, you like Gorillas and stuff like
that's
that.
true. I used to backtrack. So while we were creating BOMY, because I have different tastes now for music, I'm kind of in more indie vibe right now. But backtrack to BOMY Youth, it was hardcore Ava Brothers, some Gorillas, with Dan Kroll, Colony House, a little bit of bluegrass mixed in there, and one or two others that I cannot remember at the moment.
Oh, I had something you could say. Oh, Emily, you said. Oh, Aaron, you already asked my question for me. Perfect. We are of the same mind. Emily says you guys are in your own genre.
Hi,
So,
Ryan. What's up?
Welcome to the party. So yeah, Aaron asked it. So what would you define? We don't. So when people ask you like, oh, you're in a band, well, what kind of music you do? You kind of have like three different answers. You have the elevator answer where you're like really quick, and then you have like you're waiting cash register and you can kind of talk for a little bit, and then you can talk as long as you want, and like the descriptions just sit longer in each one. But generally, people ask like, "Oh, you're in a band. What kind of music do you do?" You go, indie folk rock, because I don't know. We grew up playing a lot of folk music, but recently just started playing everything. So it's like this blend where we don't really know. People are like, "What kind of music?" And we're like, "Yeah, it's music."
Russ can hear our 50s influence.
Yes.
And we referenced that the Beach Boys and Beatles influenced coming about of the BOMY album. The guy who produced that album, Ryan Poole, just logged on, and
Yes.
he is the one that helped us tap into that vein of sound. So yes, Ryan, if you want to mention anything about that, feel free.
Yeah.
Russ was intrigued about what brought about that 50s sound and inspiration.
Yeah, it's kind of like I've heard different people try to articulate it. It's kind of like the Avery Brothers meet like Beatles meet Foster the People, and you kind of have Dawson Hollow-ish, something like that. Oh, Aaron says Post Malone.
I have a question.
Okay.
A couple of funny ones. Are there any other siblings that we don't know about, say future backup dancers?
Ooh. No. We have other family.
We
have cousins.
do have a brother who's in heaven. Our mom lost a little boy. So I would have had 5 brothers instead of 4. And now our cousin works with us, so he's my 5th brother. Even though I usually call him my 6th brother, why I don't know why.
That works.
So yes,
That works.
there are no other siblings. This is all of us.
It's true. It's true. Okay, we do have a question up here that says, do you listen to any Christian artists?
Ooh,
We listen to a lot of Switchfoot, a lot of John Foreman, a lot of the artists who are like kind of fringe artists, like well, they're very but like the Need to Breeze,
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
the like Lauren Daigle's, yeah,
Yes. So good.
fantastic stuff.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right. What? Okay, so this is BOMY and Beyond. What was some of the inspiration behind werewolf and vampires?
I'm a very visual person. I learn visually, and as you can tell, as I'm trying to explain things, I have a hard time articulating it at certain points. And it's like, I have an idea, and it just comes out wrong, and it's sometimes misunderstood. So I like to, like, a bigger idea encompassed in something that is more tangible and understandable. So
With Lonesome Wolf, I wanted to communicate the idea of being lonely. And I was like, how can I do that in a tangible way? I was like, oh, there's the saying, the lone wolf. Like, well, what if he got separate from the pack? Would be the lonesome wolf. And it's kind of a similar thing with the vampire, like feeling like you don't quite fit with like a human society. You're on the fringe. You're on the outside. So I'd say probably the inspiration is like something that we all can understand and relate to, or have a concept that then sheds light on a more abstract idea, or something that's more emotionally grounded, or something that's harder to understand, using an object that's easier to understand to try to help communicate the underlying idea. There it is.
It's good. Someone would like to know if John is available, but they really don't. But they do, but they don't. I feel like someone is having an argument over here. So you can ponder.
Two people on a keyboard over there.
Yes. Yeah, I like that answer. That's good.
That was a good answer.
Okay. Do we have any formal music theory education, or did it all come from mom and dad?
Yes, Alan.
Our mom has her degree in music education, and so yes, we were formally trained by her for theory.
I keep using this as a microphone. We several of us took lessons from teachers. I don't know if that's considered formal education,
Yes,
but I mean,
it
I
is.
went for years and took fiddle lessons from a man named Junior Marriott. Ben took a lot of banjo lessons from a couple different people.
Kyle Wiles and Lonnie Hoppers. So our dad was amazing. He would drive us literal hours to get lessons every week. He would get in the car and he would drive us, and he'd sit patiently while I sat there and went, bang, 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 and just made terrible sounds. He'd drive me home, and he'd do it every week. He'd do the same with Kyle, and until we could drive, Dad would take us to the lessons because he cared that much about us doing what we love. So Rachel and Kyle, you guys have like some orchestra background.
Yeah, we spent 1 year in an orchestra. I studied flute, and Kyle studied violin. And then we met some old-time music players. And so Kyle switched to the art of fiddle, and I switched to mandolin, and our mom learned guitar. And so one of the questions from last week was, does our parents play all the instruments we play? Our mom could if she tried. She's amazingly talented, but her forte is the piano. Dad played the bass. And yeah, we learned all the other ones. Yes.
So what's fun is how like each different sibling like thinks about theory a little bit different than everybody else. So like Rachel and Kyle have like structure because of the piano and stuff, and like Aaron John and I picked up piano a little bit, but maybe not as much. And so it becomes interesting on how do you talk in the language of music when you just play it and then you play it back and forth, but then you bring in other people, or you
You have to communicate it in a recording session. You have to use your mouth and not just your fingers. It gets very interesting, and some of the terms we use are
Not very
hilarious.
standard.
or like we'll be like doing mixes, like we'll get mixes back, and we can't figure out what the sound that we're wanting to be. So we'll be like,
Make it sound more round
And yellow.
and less square.
But
What does that mean?
every person that we work with, each producer, engineer, mixer, helps. We learn along the way.
and we learn what lingo is incorrect too.
Yes, people are so gentle and kind to help us correct what we are coming up with.
Like the timbre in your voice.
I like
So my wife was a music major, so we used to what is that, like the
Tone.
the
the
tone,
tone
the
or, like,
sound.
so we always call it timbre because that's how it's spelled. Like, what is the timbre of your voice? It's pronounced timbre.
And we now know that. She was very
So,
gentle and kind.
She's like, timbre is what a tree does. Timbre is how your voice sounds.
We have a memo from Ryan's explanation for why the 50s sound, and I love this. Dawson Hollow's story was that they played roots music growing up and weren't exposed to modern music until they were much older, which is very true. So I got this idea that when we were doing, working together on BOMY, that we were doing, sorry Ryan, can't read your writing here, even though it is correct, it is me. On BOMY was reinventing rock and roll as if for the first time. For that reason, we dove into a lot of early rock and roll for influences. It also turned out that Ben loved the Beatles and had a Beatles book in his room, so we pulled a lot of inspiration from that. So yeah, a better defined reason.
What was cool, and I really didn't put this together till later, I was reading through the Beatles anthology, which is like huge, like that thick. It's this huge book, and I just got to like, I'll probably get it wrong, 1969 or something, and it was talking about Sgt. Pepper, and we started talking about it, and that kind of sparked like the reinventing of rock and roll for the Link clan, and that really shaped the music from there out.
Yeah. All right. Another question from last week that was, let's see, where did it go? Okay, I'm just going to run through a few quick answers. Last week, asking if we're coming back to Thomasville. We are scheduled to be there on July the 4th. We have a question, Kyle, so prepare in your mind for the Eagle story of the album. Who fought the most as children? I nominate Ben and Aaron.
Me and Aaron fought quite a bit.
I hear
Me and Aaron fought quite a bit, but
Used to, the little boys wouldn't fight me because I was 6 years older than Ben,
6 years taller.
and 6 years taller, and 6 years heavier and stronger and stuff. Until one day, when they all figured out if they ganged up on me, they could smear me. So it was at the side of a lake, and they all ran out there, and two of them grabbed hold of my legs, and the other one hit me in the back, and I went under the water, and they held me under for a little bit. And that's when I realized I need to quit picking on the little guys.
It was
They
a glorious day.
They ganged up on me. Yes.
Yes.
so there's some. Russ asked favorite author, and
Besides,
you're so mean. He said besides J.R. Tolkien, which is sad. So I'm gonna say C.S. Lewis.
Yes, Ryan, we did take influence from Rick Rubin through your words. He encourages people to absorb the greatest influence of all times rather than looking for inspiration in current music. So yeah, we definitely listen to current artists, but a lot of past. It is time for the Eagle.
Woo! Eagle story. Okay. We were recording Fire and Flood, and we had done how many takes? A ton of
explain
takes.
just real
How
quick
many
about
takes,
like
Ryan?
playing it together.
Like our strategy on that one was to not play to a click track. If you're at all familiar with recording processes, we wanted it to be this really organic, just us all playing together. Record that, get a good take, and use that. So we had done several takes, and we were tired. And the recording studio was in a ranch house in Montana that we're looking over the mountains, and we're just kind of looking out the window, and we're just kind of getting tired, sick and tired of this song. We just couldn't get a take that we were like, that's it. And the eagle kind of flew by up in the sky, and we all kind of stopped and was watching this eagle. And Ben took his electric guitar and he was kind of playing through these chords. And as the eagle would like go up, he'd kind of go up on his guitar, and he's really good at improv, so he's like making stuff up on the go. And the eagle would kind of dive down, and he'd like kind of go lower and change stuff up. And finally, I mean, we watched this eagle for several minutes, kind of soaring around, and it kind of came down, and there was this beautiful pond out in front of the ranch house. The eagle kind of flew over the pond and then landed on this fence post at the far end of it. And we are all like, push record. Boom, we recorded another take, and that's the take that you hear on the album now. So that was the eagle story.
And we love Nacho Libre, so
So to
we call it
finish,
our Eagle Powers.
Eagle powers.
so at the end of the take, Kyle yells.
Yeah, at the end of that take, I was like,
What'd you say? You were
It
like,
was did you see that eagle?
it sounded just like,
It was like, I mean, it was such a magical moment
it was
of
good.
probably the most magical moment for me of the whole 2 weeks of recording. And yeah, I yelled that, did you see that eagle? Which obviously we all had. But our producer,
Wait.
Ryan Poole, he's talking in the comments there, he was, later he made this like remix thing, and at the end, wasn't that the line he was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
It was really funny.
Yes, it was a
Or-
great stress reliever.
It was. We laughed pretty hard about that. So that's the eagle story for whoever asked for that. I think it was Zach.
Yes, loved it. Okay, we have a couple of good ones from last week.
yeah.
You go ahead if you have one.
Oh, well, it was big pass already. We were
Oh.
talking about the author, and he said no, J.R.R. Tolkien, but I just finished Fellowship of the Ring, and I'm very much into it, so J.R.R. Tolkien.
How many instruments do we play combined?
Lots.
Goodness.
I don't know.
I feel like it changes every year.
Well, we forget instruments when we go to count.
Here's the thing. What do you define by play? Because if you mean strum and play 3 chords, we can play like anything. But if you mean like actually play it well, the number will be much smaller.
Ryan is offering to release the Eagle remix.
Maybe someday.
I have an idea. We are getting ready to launch Patreon, a Dawson Hollow Patreon. And so people that come over there and are a part of that club, yes, we will give you the Eagle remix. But not in public.
So not yet, Ryan. Not yet.
Not yet.
If you follow us on Patreon, you can hear Kyle yelling in a remix. How can you refuse that?
Which song are you most proud of?
Oh,
Take me there.
I don't know. I don't know.
He's proud of them all. Currently, I think I'm most proud of Summer Snow. We pour a lot of heart into that. And I love
But let's go just the album.
Yeah.
For
If
BOMY.
we're talking about
We are talking about
everything,
Yes.
if we're talking about everything, then I also agree on Summer Snow.
Okay.
Boy, my youth is too.
So currently, Summer Snow on Boy My Youth. Oh
Fire and Flood for Boy My Youth.
Mm.
And Traveling Man, The Fiddle Parts, 1,000 Miles.
I have one while you
man. Okay.
I love 1,000 Miles more than all the other songs, but I am most proud of Silver Moon because we had to become extremely flexible to take it to where it ended up at, and Aaron let go of a lot to help to join with all of us and recreate, and so like I'm most proud of Silver Moon.
Yeah, I'd say Silver Moon, and then for mine would be Take Me There. Because they were kind of similar in that when we wrote them, they were very small, quiet, intimate, beautiful. And then we took them through this big process of just trying things and adding things and just letting go of what we thought the song was supposed to be and just letting input from everyone else come in. So I think Taping There might be I'm most proud of, just because I love how with the arrangement of the songs in this record, we didn't do your standard pop 3.5 minutes for every single song. Like a lot of them were journey songs, and they're like 5+ minutes. But I really do love Taking There, and I think it says a lot when you pick up an instrument and whatever comes out. So a lot of times I pick up a guitar, Taking There comes out. So anytime I hear a 4 chord or a C chord, it's like there's no it's the first thing that comes out. So it's definitely an extension of me.
Aaron, what song are you most proud of? Join in here. Which song took the longest to pull together from starting ideas to the recording?
A lot of these songs were years in the writing to the recording.
Traveling Man. You probably did that. You probably played that one the longest. I'd say.
But I think some of the other songs were written longer than
Pretty
that.
Girl was written in 15. Do you have any dating older than that?
I don't think so.
Take Me There was after that. Hills was after that.
Feel My Love is after that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll Be Honest might be about the same age.
Yeah. But a lot of these songs were fragments from literal years of writing. So it's like we collect. That's why we had like 50 songs to choose from, or at least 50 song fragments. But probably 2015 to January 1, 2018 was probably the longest writing to then recorded process.
We have a suggestion to see more Instagram lives, such as Aaron's drum session, where you break down certain instrument parts of your songs.
Ooh.
I like this suggestion. We should do that.
We should do a bass session,
Yes.
session, guitar session, piano session.
And yes, Ryan, a Pretty Girl boat video on Patreon. Love it. Yes. And yes, we will be announcing Patreon on all social media fronts, including YouTube. We will make sure everyone knows when it's coming out. Sooner than later. We are currently developing a lot of stuff for that. Did I miss anything? Ever think about jamming more in the shows?
Jamming more? I feel like we jam
Like Fish is their suggestion. Or
like the band Fish.
example. Yes.
Like Fish. Like Nemo. You guys have an answer for that? Jamming more?
I would say yes, we have talked about it. We do like to keep some form in our shows, but we always leave a little wiggle room in a few places for people to embellish.
If you saw us in the early stages, you'd probably be asking the opposite of that. You'd be like, have you guys ever thought about not jamming out a 3.5 minute song? Think about it. Like, most of everything we did was just like, go hard. And as you grow, sometimes the pendulum swings, and you're like, let's go back and jam a little more. Our hope is to find a good balance of like those moments where you just, those moments are like most fun. I mean, really, any show is most fun when you have an audience and you're not just looking at a screen or a camera. But like the jam out moments, those are for us, but they're for you guys, and they're pretty fun. Today we're doing a video, and I realized one of my favorite parts, and it made awkward, when I like look in your guys' eyes, when Kyle's just like, and we smile, and we're just like going hard, and John's just like, and Aaron's hitting the drums, so I come over to the piano, and you just like see it fire. I love that part. And it usually happens when we're jamming.
Yes, Emily, I will try to do a piano breakdown.
Woo!
Have we looked?
Oh, also, it's fun. I forget what question it was the other day, but it was talking about like things you play and how like "Take Me There" is like your sound check song.
Yes.
Like anytime Rachel hits the keyboard for sound check, it's bow, 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 bow.
Yes. Russ asks a very valuable question. What can we all do to help promote you? And what would be Yes, what would be the most
That's a
helpful?
fantastic question. What do you think?
Tell everyone you know to listen
you have
to us
anything on that?
and stream our music. Come to our shows. Follow our social media.
Yeah, share on your social media.
Share. Also, like word of mouth, I think is
Word
most
of
powerful. If someone sends you a, hey, you like this band, versus you're genuinely like when somebody tells me in person about something they're into, I'm more intrigued than just a so invited you to like something.
But we are currently under social distancing, so sharing it on your socials is
Good point.
very valuable.
Solid point.
So we're not encouraging you to go run to your neighbors and
No, you can call somebody.
yeah, there you go.
Phones.
Well, the other day, Ben's wife Kara sent me a new artist, texted me the link to their Spotify, and I immediately opened it up, loved it, followed them. Like, that is so valuable to share music with people. Following us on social media, and when we can tour again, come to our concerts and buy our merch. Very helpful.
Woo! Also,
And
we
bring your friends.
yes, bring your friends. We posted it in the comments, but we've made a playlist on Spotify, and if you don't use Spotify, let us know what you use, and we'll maybe make some other playlists as well. But the idea is to just leave it on loop for like days. You can leave it on loop as you sleep, and all the streams and proceeds go to the artist. So we have our music, and then we have some of our friends that we've met on the road, and just bands that we like. And the idea was to keep it like keep all the artists who are under 1 million monthlies. So like they're still up and comers. So follow that. That's a huge help. You guys have anything else?
Got a couple more questions, and then we'll start wrapping it up. Are there any musicians' charities that you support or recommend to help artists during this time? We have applied for a few things to help with us. Music Cares, and then, it just slipped my mind. There was another one. And as far as charities, we love, well, there's several different, like, genres of charities that we're behind in general. Like World Vision and Compassion and Kids Alive, sponsorships for children around the world. We're very much behind those. We've worked with Compassion several times. And also anti-human trafficking organizations. We worked with several and done some fundraisers for them.
Exodus Cry is a really good one.
Exodus Cry is a great one. Yeah. And
Fight
so-
the New Drug is a really good one.
Oh yes, Fight the New Drug is also amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely
Lots of
support
good
them.
stuff.
Lots of support. So yeah, that's a few that we are definitely behind, and there are a lot more. I'm missing a ton of them right off the top of my head. And then how did you get connected with Red Letter Management?
It's a good question. That's fine.
Go for it.
It's
It's a long story.
Yeah,
it
it's
goes
a long
way
story.
back.
So, Brad Fogarty is our manager, and we were connected to him through family for years and years, and then finally our paths crossed.
And
And
our second ever concert we played.
I think so.
Yeah.
Our second Dawson Hall
Up in
concert
Twin
ever.
Springs.
Yeah.
Real quick. Yes, Phyllis, we are compensated when we use Apple Music, so keep it up.
Woohoo! So our paths just lined up, and our visions were seemed to be the same. So we're like, let's do this thing. So we've been working with Red Letter for a couple of years
Just
now.
over 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're absolutely
Amazing.
incredible. We love those people.
Yeah, they're the greatest support team you could ever
Yeah.
ask for. They're awesome. I have just received the Eagle remix, so it is now in our hands, ready for Patreon ASAP. So we'll get on that. We will.
Love it.
All right. I've run through pretty much all the questions from last week, except Kyle. Do you ever catch your beard in the fine tuners of your fiddle?
Yes. It doesn't happen very often, but every now and again, if you fail to comb your beard out and you get kind of, rats and whatever, you have your fiddle up there near your chin, you'll be rocking out, and you pull your fiddle down to go up and sing your mic, and it'll catch like 2 or 3 hairs and just be like, yank, and you're like, ah!
Is that how you sing falsetto?
No. On the flip side, I have 3 children, and my youngest one is 9 months old, and she pulls my beard every day, so I'm kind of used to that painful feeling in your face. So, yes, it does happen. Is it, terrible? Nah.
This host writes books listening to our music, and I missed
That's
it earlier.
awesome.
She said that one of her characters is based on summer snow. Like, it has to do with that. That's amazing.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, or whenever you finish that, we
I think,
would absolutely.
no, I
love to
think
see
that I might have that book.
it. Okay,
I need to double check.
that is awesome. That's awesome. That's so cool.
That
So-
is so
Do you guys have any like sentiments or just like kind of wrap ups on the Boy My Youth album?
The process of raising the funds, doing the pre-production, developing our sound, going to Montana for 2 weeks, and recording the album was incredibly draining, but also so rewarding. Like, we've never worked harder for something, and at the end of it, it was all 5 of us, our cousin Luke, and a couple more people on the team producing and all that. It was a very bonding experience, and it was so awesome at the end to finally be able to just hold the CD in our hands, and then it's like, and stick it in the player or the vinyl, or put it on cassette too, and that was just like, it's so worth it. Even though it's 57 minutes of music, but it took years of lifetime work.
A lot of hard
Yeah, but all of that has built on itself, and now we are like way into having the next album ready. And so it's just every step of the way was laying the foundation for more. So yeah.
Even if it's short, say something.
It was one of the most challenging years of my life and the most rewarding.
I'm glad it's 2020. No, it was so difficult to process, but when we were done and we had the finished product in our hand, it was like we had done something awesome. Like, it had taken so many years and months and just blood, sweat, and tears, literally, and it was awesome. And now we have it. Now people can enjoy it forever. I mean,
Immortalized.
right? It's one of those things that we did as a family that was 100% worth the
Mhm.
I think as we retrospect, I'm just thankful for the people I did it with. Like, I wouldn't want to have done this album with anybody else. And I don't think, like, I think a lot of it was we were starting something new. We were discovering ourselves. We were discovering our sound. We were still figuring out who we were. We're still figuring that out. So there was a lot of challenge, and it was trying to create something new. It's always going to be hard. And like Rachel said, we built a foundation where we can now create in a healthier mind space, and just it just gets better and better with each one. But I think there's never been a day where we look back and said, I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah.
Like, we have always been like, I'm so glad we worked so hard and we poured ourselves into this album. And so hearing you guys say, hey, I've written characters from your music, and I've, like, your album was the end of my summer, and your album was like affected you guys, just further affirms like what we're doing. And like, we say this a lot, but like, we couldn't do this without you guys, and we really do appreciate you, and we're just so thankful that you guys listen and that you guys engage, and you, as soon as all this blows over, come to shows and just like are part of this journey with us. So I'm just really thankful, and it's always cool to look forward, and it ironically makes you really excited. Sorry, to look backward, ironically gets you really excited looking forward for what happens next musically. So
One last question. Would you ever considered featuring your parents on a song in some way? Yes. We would totally consider
When the
that.
time is right.
Yep, the time
Sure.
will come. We actually were just talking today about featuring other people on our music. It's an intriguing one. I like it.
Okay. Well,
Oh, yes, the footage of tomorrow was of our family. It's of our mom's side of the family.
yeah, that's on I can never remember the millimeter. What is it called?
8mm, right?
8 millimeter.
Hey, Luke, you want to say hi?
Yes.
Luke does so many things in the background that you don't see, like crawl
Or
around
sometimes
on
you
the
do
floor.
by accident.
You're not in it.
I know.
So there's 5 members on the stage, but our saying is every band needs a Luke.
Yep.
So if you look into like different successful bands, if you look at Coldplay, they always talk about their 5th member, or Beatles, they always talk about their engineer. Like they would not have been them without this extra person, and
Yeah.
that is who Luke is for Dawson Hollow. We call him our swag coach.
Yep.
Word.
Yep.
Because we were homeschooled and we need it.
Yep.
Yeah, he definitely speaks into it, and he has a different perspective. Like, it helps if you aren't in the thick of it all the time.
Mhm.
So we bring ideas to him, and he goes, "Yeah, that's terrible. You should do something else." Or, "This is my favorite thing I've ever heard," and all in between.
This week we are filming a new music video, and Luke is producing it, and it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited.
Very excited. Okay, do we have any parting? Mom would always say, "Words of wisdom."
Words of wisdom.
Y'all stay safe.
And that.
Be encouraged that the world is weird right now, but it will get back to normal at some point. And even if it doesn't get 100% back, it's going to be okay. Like, it really is. So embrace where you are and live in today.
You've heard me say it before, we believe that hope is the logical conclusion. So, in every season, in 12 months, you'll probably hear me say something along the same lines. We think hope's the logical conclusion. So, John, do you have anything?
And one more tiny one when you're done.
When problems and stress are in front of you, sometimes if you back up, you'll see they're smaller than they are.
Nice.
I wouldn't have been able to record A Boy of My Youth without Ryan Poole. Thank you, Ryan, and Leah Lawrence. They were there, right there with us the whole time. Thank you, guys.
Yep, you guys are amazing. I love y'all.
Good.
I think
I think that's it.
that is the end of this commentary. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was super fun. We wanted to do something different, and you guys are definitely worth it for us to just come and sit down and talk about the album.
Stay
We're
on
really-
the lookout for more lives until we can be in person again.
Yeah, so we're so thankful for this record. Thank you for listening, and we're excited for the next one, whenever that comes out. Wink, wink. So, yeah, y'all stay safe. Hopefully we'll see you sooner than later. We love you guys. See ya.